We're back with Get It
We
Seen,
are indeed.
the simplest way to accessible design with my co-host, Piccia Neri. Piccia, how are you today?
I am very well. How are you, Michelle?
I'm doing well too, thank you. I decided, I don't know, like 4 weeks ago maybe, to add that countdown. I took a little piece of Nathan Wrigley's book where he does the countdown before his live stream. Only his is 2 minutes, and I'm like, I sit there all the time like this is the longest countdown ever. Mine's 30 seconds, so it's all good.
Yeah, Nathan's is really long, and which is deceptive because you think, "Oh, okay, I've got time to, I don't know, go to the bathroom. I forgot, and then you're late. You're like, running
Yeah,
to
two
the
minutes is
chair. It's like, okay,
it's only long when you're
no,
staring at the screen. It's not long when you have to go do something, right? So
exactly. It's the relativity of time, but we could go down a rabbit hole there, and
we
we
could.
won't.
We won't. We won't. We're
We
back.
won't.
This is our
We're
second to
back.
last week. Next week is our last week where we talk about animations. And this week we're talking about data visualization, which I love that because it can be a very complex topic depending on what it is that you're trying to display. So yeah, so we have James Lau here. Good morning, James. I see you in the chat. Appreciate you being here. And I'm going to
Yes.
turn things over to you and probably ask a ton of questions when you start to talk about data visualization. What I will ask before you even get started. So when I asked you last week when we were off screen, I'm like, so what does data visualization mean to you? So that I understand. And it really is when you want to display data in a way that's like graphs or pie charts and other like maybe what do you call those infograms and things like that, and those all of those kinds of things that display data in a way that is visual, that needs to be explained to somebody who cannot see it. So let me know, are you ready for me to bring your presentation up on the screen and just jump right in?
Yes. Yes. I'm
Excellent.
just so a premise to this. I thought it was really interesting when you asked me last week, what do you mean with data visualizations? Because this is exactly where I started from as well. And I have to say that this all started because last year, Beth Hannon, who's a friend and an accessibility expert, one of the best people in accessibility in WordPress, recommended me to a client of hers who's a US NGO dealing with foster families, foster care, foster children. And so they deal with a lot of data, and they were doing a big accessibility rehaul, and they wanted to teach their staff how to become accessible, including data visualizations. I thought that this would be boring. And I also thought that I wouldn't understand any of it. Well, the opposite happened. So I am really numerically challenged. So in a way, because I'm numerically challenged, I am the best person to do this, because
Mm.
if I can understand it, we are a very good place. If I can, because as you were saying, we need to make graphs, charts, anything that is a visual representation of data. We need to make it visible to those who can't see it, but we also need to make it understandable. And it is
Mhm.
staggering how little this actually happens. So I then got quite nerded out on the topic. I got very excited about it, which sounds mad, but I really, because as I always say, I'm a recovering creative designer. But I just got, it's so interesting, so interesting. And there were times when I was looking for examples. This is, by the way, as you can see, Page Builder Summit 2025. We're going to see slides from a presentation that I did for our friend Nathan Wrigley's and Ancient LaRue's Page Builder Summit. And I also have a whole workshop on it. It's like 3 hours of fun working with data visualizations. And
Which we're going to distill down to like 20 minutes today.
20 minutes. We
Just
are
the
going to be
highlights,
very
folks.
strict,
Just the
and
highlights.
you're gonna stop me. So we're gonna go through as much as possible. But what I found out as I was doing all my research was how many organizations, big ones, like the top ones in the US, for instance, there's one specific one in the US. I hope I have the examples. Don't specifically from that one, because I really don't have a problem naming and shaming, because in how many places we find data visualizations that are actually not understandable the way they're visualized. I look at them and go, sorry, what's the story that you're telling here? I do not get it. So we're just going to look at a few examples because we do not have the time for the whole presentation. So to get started, what do we mean by data visualization? And something very simple, we have to deal with it every single day. Like, for instance, if you have an iPhone, you will have your health app that simply they found a way of showing you they give you a target for your daily activity, and the target is in a circle. If you close this, the circle will sort of fill itself. It's a key line around the circle. If when it fills itself, it means that you've reached your target for the day, and if you haven't, then the circle doesn't close. I hope this was a clear explanation. Sorry, one of my earbuds fell out of my ear.
Oh no.
Okay, something started. It's okay, no, good. There was a like an audio starting
your
in
end?
my ears from somewhere else, and I'm like, no,
Oh, no.
no. So those are lives. And then so all phones have this. There's an example of a mindfulness app from my iPhone as well on the screen. And then another one is the summary of all your activity. This is still the health app inside the iPhone. Is it the health app? No, it's the other one. Whatever. But it's all the activities that you do. It also tracks if I meditate. So it shows me stuff in a visual way. It shows me data about what I've been doing all day long in a visual way. Because the first thing is that a good data visualization should be understandable even when it's in a language we don't speak. It should be language agnostic. But the reality is that the majority of data visualizations are not like this. And I will show you a data visualization that I found particularly difficult. What is the takeaway in this data, in this chart, visual chart, data visualization chart? It's a chart about when European children fly the nest, the average age at which young people leave the parental household in 2022. This is real data. And apart from the fact that color is used not excessively, but the data, there isn't a huge difference. So they're all dots in different colors. The colors don't seem to, there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. No, actually, yeah, there is a reason to the color. The colors, like 20, the range of 20% is orange, range, or no, that's not true, because we have France, Germany, and that's green, and still it's 20%. So they've chosen a way to represent all the percentages of the ages at which young European people leave their family home, family of origin. They've chosen a visualization that doesn't make any sense, and even to interpret it, how many times have I looked at this? It's in a workshop and in a talk, and I still can't work out.
Even the scale is wrong. So 23 to 25, then 25 to 27. So is the 25-year-old in the green, or is the 25-year-old in the yellow?
It's almost as if they've done it to provide me with an example. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Because the data is actually, and this is maybe an extreme example, but there's another one that I find really, because we need to think, what's the story that we're telling? What's the takeaway? This is a line bar chart, but it's horizontal, and it's supposed to represent annual household income. But I find it really hard to understand, because there's the data starts, it's horizontal, stacked, and the data starts on the left, and there are two first column is a set of numbers, then the second column is percentages, and then the third is the bar, which is horizontal, representing her. And I still I'm not sure what the story that because with every data visualization, we're telling a story.
Right.
With the app, the Steps app or whatever from the iPhone that we saw earlier, the story was, have I completed my goal today? Have I achieved the number of steps?
Yeah.
The average number of steps, and and I can see that immediately. Is the circle complete? Great, I don't have to exercise anymore today unless I want to. If it isn't complete, that maybe I want to do some more. That's it. Here it's really difficult to understand, and there are so many data visualizations that actually behave like
It's
this.
almost like you have
And
to go out of your way to make it exceptionally bad. Because like this is not how Excel works, or this is not how Google Sheets work. If you want to create a bar graph, there are much better ways to do it. Somebody designed this horrifically bad.
yeah, and the thing is that this is actually a real world example. I can't tell you where it was from, but it is definitely a real world example. So the way we classify data, I'm very conscious of time, so I am not going to tell you everything about data visualization, but just there are different classifications of data visualization, and the first thing that we need to think about is how many data dimensions. Here we have I think it's just 2 data dimensions here, but the way they've chosen to visualize it, actually it's ranges, so maybe ranges means it's 3. So the way they've chosen to visualize it makes it really hard to understand, and there are many choices of types of charts that we can choose. So really a horizontal bar chart, I don't think was the right choice for this. So I give you the way I thought would work better is as a pie chart. You could argue that pie charts, this is borderline for a pie chart, because it's already, even as a pie chart, there are 7 different data. But here the story that is trying to tell is a bit clearer, because it tells me literally it's about annual household income, and it tells me who has the biggest slice of the pie. And it's very clear that the richest and the poorest have the slice. The richest have the biggest slice of the. Yeah. So the richest is half of the total, and then the very poorest have almost a quarter. So it's a very interesting story. Now, if I show you again next to it, the bar chart that we had before is like, I don't see that story at all. So even though some would say, well, actually, a pie chart, really, it's best if you've got only very few sets of data dimensions, then it still is better than what we started from, in my humble opinion. Then we also have different types of, first it is the complexity, and then James says the takeaway here with this circle chart is that I want to eat M&Ms, and I think he was referring
talking to the other, the colorful one,
to this to this one. Yeah, it is very much mindful of M&Ms. Maybe that's what they were thinking about. But
Skittles.
So another thing that people get very confused about is the type of data visualization, because when you say data visualization, sometimes people can't tell the difference between infographic or data visualization. Now, an infographic, this is an important difference, because an infographic is custom drawn and it's specific to the data. So it's not as like a generic type that you can apply to any kind of data, and it has a strong visual content, and it's relatively data poor. This is an example from the Guardian newspaper that used to do incredibly wonderful visualizations. It's about cities and urban areas in 2020, and as it's almost it's a graphic artist's rendition of data. So it's an illustration basically that uses data, but so you can't use it again. Maybe you could adapt it to a different set of data, but it's very, very, very specific. Or this one that I love, it's about super swimmers. and it's an illustration from a children's book that has a horizontal bar chart that makes sense because it places different animals at a point in the chart, which sort of shows us the distance according to how long they can hold their breath for. And a human is represented swimming, and it says 22 minutes, but we're now at 29, only it's not swimming, it's static. There is a human out there that can not breathe for 29 minutes, but static though, not swimming, because no, don't try that at home. Whereas on the other hand, data visualization, like the pie chart or the bar chart that we saw before, it's algorithmically drawn,
Yes.
not specific to the data. You can adapt it to anything, and it has poor visual content. It's not about the visual content, and it's relatively data rich. So why do I say this? Why is it important for accessibility? Because if I don't understand what you're trying to tell me in the story, that's already inaccessible, even if you've maybe written all text for it. So what's the story the data is telling? What do we want people to understand? What format best supports that? These are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. And then I'm just going to give you the data relationships types. We're not going to go into detail about any of them. I'm just going to show you a few inaccessible ones, and we're going to see how we can make them more accessible. So comparison, composition, distribution, change over time, and relationship. These are the types of data relationships. And so I give you, so the first one, comparison. This is a comparison chart. It comes out as quite small, and it's one of the charts. It's from the, it's from I will tell you what website it is from, but it's a comparison chart that is horizontal, and therefore, and it has so many countries there. It's this views of the state of US democracy, why the way that views of US democracy vary around the world. Be interesting to have this survey now. I think this is from 2024. And anyway, it's a horizontal bar chart that has, I don't know how many, like so many countries on it. So it's quite hard, and it's degrading. But it's hard again to tell the story because there are simply too many elements in here. So it's too complicated a story. Then the problem again with this specific chart on the page that it's on, and actually I think that's what I'm meant to do. Yeah, I'm meant to go and show you. I'm meant to go and show you the page, and I tell you why it matters, because this is from Pew Research. I don't know if I can find that, but yeah, I can find it. So I'm going to change my share, Michelle. Present.
Excuse me.
Stop screen. And I'm going to show you what makes a chart not accessible. Window.
I'm also thinking of the challenge of creating alt text for some of these data visualizations as well.
Yeah.
Like the more information contained in a graphic, the more complex the alt text will become.
Absolutely, because you do need to write alt text. This is an image. So on this website, which is one of the biggest survey entities in the US, there are so many. That's what they do. They survey, and they are Pew Research. I think they are the source of most sort of official surveys in the US. And there are so many problems with this because guess what? It's an image. If I click on it, it takes me, to this to a specific article on it, but it never. So there's a whole article. Actually, no, there isn't. It doesn't all it is here, this is a JPEG. It's a JPEG image. So if I can't, and it was a JPEG image in the previous page as well. So if I can't see this, there is no way I can know what the data is, because it does, and actually it does not have all text. I won't inspect. I know it doesn't. And what you need to do then, writing all text would be super long, but what you need to do with dates with charts is you need to make the raw data available, because if you show this as a table, I mean, it'd be more understandable. It's a spreadsheet, a table or a spreadsheet.
Right.
That makes it readable by a screen reader, and it makes it probably more understandable for humans as well. So that's what you need to do. And now and this website actually is a real, I think I have another example later of a chart that I found completely incomprehensible, and I actually had to ask a friend to help me understand it. And I will find it now for you, because this is the one, and I'm gonna have to change. I'm gonna have to change the screen again. I really would like the people there, and for you, Michelle, to tell me an honestly, genuine question, because I couldn't understand it. Had to ask a friend to help me, and I would like to know what you and other people watching think of this chart. Okay, so it says, again, on the page, this is an image. It's not text, so no screen reader can read it. About 1 in 5 online daters in their 50s have used Tinder. That's the title. And below it says percentage of US online dating users who say they have ever used ... And then there are lines. The first line is Match. It's all the dating apps: Match, eHarmony, Tinder, OkCupid, Bumble, Grindr, Hinge, Her, Other, on lines. Next door to the lines, there's a column that says all online. So on the right, there's a column at the end of the line, which starts on the left, all online dating users, with a number for each line. And then on the horizontal line, there are age dots. With numbers. So apparently green is age 70. Also, I don't think this is actually accessible in terms of color for color blindness.
No,
I'm not actually even able to describe this chart, because even though I mean, basically, I don't know what it means. Like, I'll describe 2 lines. I'll describe the eHarmony line, and the eHarmony line goes from left to right, and like roughly in the middle of it, it has a dark blue dot on top of which is the number 28, a lighter blue dot almost overlapping with a number 30, then a gray line, and a bit further on in green, another dot and the number 38. In the column on the right, it says 19. I have not got a clue. Do you understand?
What do any of those numbers mean?
What does it mean? I just don't know. I could not work it out. If someone
What's interesting, it doesn't tell you how many people were surveyed. And so it doesn't tell you how many people in each of those age groups. And then it doesn't tell you. So 28 people age 50 to 59 used eHarmony out of, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. No.
So I asked,
and if you can't understand it and you can see it and you can read it, it's more than an accessibility issue at this point. It's just a data issue. It doesn't make any sense.
It is, but I would argue that it is an accessibility issue, because accessibility is inclusion at all levels. If this is not understandable, then by default it isn't accessible.
No, so, I said it's more than an accessibility issue. It absolutely is
more
also.
Than yes. Sorry, I misheard.
That's okay. No, I wasn't saying it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. I know you too well as well to believe that you would say that. But so I asked a much more clever friend than I. He was like, oh yeah, I get it, and he explained it to me, and I was able from his explanation to create a
Okay.
spreadsheet from it, like a table. Like I mean, I really don't know spreadsheet, but basically with raw data makes any data visualization much clearer. So now we have
Mhm.
a column for each of the
Age ranges. Mhm.
each of the age ranges, and a column for each of the apps, and it tells
Mhm.
us which percentage of which age range uses which app. Easy.
Yep,
Now I get it.
absolutely.
Like
Yep.
19% of 50 to 59-year-olds use Tinder. 60 to
Mhm.
69 use only 6%, and 70 only 1%. I get it.
Mhm.
It's
Yep,
really easy.
makes
So
much more sense now.
much more sense. So I know I'm really aware of time, because I know you will stop me and you will be right. So we've got like 5 minutes. So
Yes.
I just want to show you another way in which. So actually, is this? Yes. So this is another way of so we saw the raw data, and
Mhm.
then here we've done a comparison vertical bar chart that
Mhm.
completely tells the story visually, because you
Absolutely.
can see clearly you can differentiate, and also look at how we're not using just color for the bars,
Mhm.
we're using patterns as well. So if someone has problems distinguishing blue and green, they have the patterns, but it's not even that important, because the heights are different. And then also, very importantly with color, it's the lightness, the amount of light in the color that makes it's
It's much
so,
more
because
contrast.
yeah. So this is basically how you do it. And at the basis of accessibility, let's not forget, that is the fact that you should never rely on one sense only, and you should always provide an alternative. So
Mhm.
alt text, raw data, and make sure that you tell the story in a way that is understandable. So
Absolutely.
I am going to I also want to say, but just in case I forget, that there is a wonderful plugin that won CloudFest hackathon this year. The
Mhm.
project is led by Annemieke Bovelet, who's a friend. I don't know if she's here, and I really should have given you the I should have given you the link earlier. But while I go through, because I will just go through we can agree that what we'll do is that I will, in this very, very short presentation, I will give a summary of the guidelines for data visualization. We agree on
Okay.
that. In the
Yes.
meantime, you can find, or if anyone who's watching can find, the wonderful plugin, because I am so old and I can't remember the name of the plugin that I collaborate to. So it's a wonderful plugin that uses AI to create alt text and make data visualizations that are already online and that you can't rework, make them accessible, because it interprets the data and it writes alt text. So best practice guidelines for data visualization accessibility. First of all, text summary. You need to provide a text summary of the visualization in the text. So not, you can do it somewhere else if it's very complicated, but it needs to be there. Making sure to describe trends or patterns in the visualization, because you're interpreting the data. Maybe there's a story that you want to tell above another. So, for instance, in this case, this is a chart from High Charts, which is a plugin that provides accessible data visualizations. It's like a JS framework. It does lots of stuff. It's really great. And it talks about Palmer penguin species, and it says total count of Palmer penguin species from the Palmer penguin data set. And it's a very clear bar chart with different heights for the different types of penguin, which is the most abundant species, and so on. And it provides a text, which is Adelie penguins are the most abundant species, Gentoo, followed by Gentoo, and then chinstrap. So it clearly tells the story. Then you need to make the data available in an accessible table format, as we saw earlier. And this is another example of an accessible table format with a line chart, which I think this one is from, I actually took it from the official guidelines. And then when it's not possible to display a table, which can happen, then you should provide a full description as detailed as possible, which can be on another page. That's fine. You can put it somewhere else if it's too long on the page where you are. Then whenever possible, you need to label data directly. What do I mean by this? For instance, we have a line chart here that has different patterns to differentiate the lines as well as color, but also it labels each line. Just above or below each line in the same color is a description of what it is. This is a comparison of all the most common desktop screen readers. So the line for JAWS has JAWS, a line for VoiceOver has written VoiceOver. So you label data directly whenever you can. Then you also must ensure that there's enough and sufficient is a bit redundant, contrast and separation between elements. So if you have a pie chart, make sure that you pair colors appropriately, and you also have a key line between different sections of the pie charts. And this is again from High Charts, which is this great, I recommend that if you're interested in data visualization, you should visit their website. And the text needs to be readable and properly laid out, because there are so many of those charts where the text isn't readable, it's not properly laid out, it's tiny, 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 and on top of it it's an image, so you can't even make it bigger or anything else. Always use simple and plain language. How you speak is another very important aspect of accessibility. Make sure that everyone can understand, and simple over complex. Please always use simple, familiar visualizations. This, like captions, is not the place where to be creative, really, unless you're doing an infographic. But then in that case, you're using your creativity to simplify. And that's why The Guardian, I don't think they do them anymore. They were famous for these incredible data visualizations that managed to turn super complex sets of data in such a lively and engaging story. So, and make interactions accessible to keyboard, because there are a lot of data visualizations, and some of them are maps that they're simply not possible to make accessible. And there are, in that case, you need to put it in your accessibility statement. For instance, there's the official European survey website has a lot of data visualizations that are kind of impossible to make accessible, and they say that, they explain this, we can't make this completely accessible to keyboard, but here's the raw data. That's how you do it. And please make animations easy to stop whenever you have animation. I always say this, you know me, and we'll talk about it more next week. And I always have to talk about animations because they affect me hugely, and more as I get older. Also, make sure that your visualizations are responsive, because if you use an image, a JPEG, it's not responsive. It's not going to size on my mobile. I won't be able to see it. If I use a tablet, for instance, a lot of people who have accessibility issues, older people especially, love tablets, and it's not going to be if it's just an image, it's not going to be responsive. Very importantly, color independence. It's a major thing in accessibility. Do not rely on color alone ever to convey information, because there are alternatives. And this is once again an example from the website that I mentioned earlier, which is High Charts, that shows a pie chart with, again, comparison between the use of the major screen readers shown as a pie chart with different patterns inside the segments of the chart. Beware though, don't make your patterns too complicated, otherwise they won't be visible either. So simple over complex, always. So I think I've got that is visually. I think that's actually, I know that James put it. Yeah, thank you. Oh no, you did.
I did,
visually.
yeah.
Yes, I had it. I had it. I had it, of course, in the presentation
In
itself.
the presentation.
But also, I did. So
Good.
I also want to mention, and I know now you shut me up, but Vangage is a very good, not all of Vangage is accessible, but they have taken a lot of steps. Basically, Vangage is an online tool to create data visualizations. And even with the free version, you can really play with it. And the great thing about it is that it will allow you to visualize data, sets of data with different types of charts in a way that will really help you decide. And they do a lot to make it accessible. That help you with the color contrast, that help you write the alt text. It's very, 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 very good. And
Very
yeah, I
nice.
think that we're over 30 minutes, but yeah.
That's okay. I'm going to share a story that has nothing to do with data visualization, but I want to share a story telling people that you can be somebody like us in this industry and still make mistakes. So let me share my screen here. With Marcus Burnett, created these conversation starters. They're printed cards that you can put on tables at WordCamps, etc. And they're just conversation starters. So when you're talking to somebody that you don't know, you can pick one up and say, hey, this one says, what's one way you've seen WordPress make a real difference for someone? And that's a way to just start a conversation. So I was looking for a plugin that I could just on refresh be able to change out the image. And so you can see every time I hit refresh, a new one pops up. I was so excited about this that I put it all together, posted it to Twitter, and got publicly called out by Taco Vernon Scott saying, hey, these don't have any alt text. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I forget to do alt text when I am like the queen of, is there alt text on there? Turns out, so I reached out to the plugin developer because you don't put these images in your media library. So there was no way to put alt text on these images. And so during my open office hours yesterday, said, hey, I'm looking for help. If anybody knows of a better plugin to use. Well, Mark Westgard said, I'll do you one better. I'll write you a plugin. And within an hour, and he's already submitted it to the WordPress plugin repo because it does exactly what you needed to do. The images get uploaded to your media library. You put the alt text into your media library, and then he created a plugin that allows you to create a gallery that will then be able to refresh every time you refresh the page and show you a different image. So he just, boom, it was done. And so,
wow,
yes.
That's amazing.
First things first, I made the mistake of putting something out there publicly that was not accessible and had a little egg on my face. Did I wish that Taco would have said, hey, Michelle, like behind closed doors instead of putting it out for all of? Yes, of course. But also, I am a transparent person and I will always tell you when I mess up, and I messed up. So but it's fixed within a day.
That's incredible. Mark is incredible.
But
that's the thing. We always do our best. Our best.
Exactly.
And by the way, can I think this is a great story. And I also, we all mess up. It's normal. Yeah. Can I just say that I am at the moment promoting this accessible design and content course, and I'm doing an Ask Me Anything session this afternoon. It's completely impromptu, so maybe we just me because I haven't really promoted it. But I'm just going to put it. I'm going to put the link to the Ask Me Anything in the chat. But I'm also going to put the link to my sales page, if I may.
Absolutely.
In the chat as well. And I'm going to put it in this chat here. So if we've got time for you to, no, sorry. So that's the AMA. I wanted to put this one. This one.
Is it? So the first one you said was correct though, right? I can put that on the screen.
You can, but also the link to the sales page. Because I just think that, honestly, this course is going to be my legacy, and everybody should everybody should buy it. I really do mean it. There is literally no one that wouldn't benefit from it, me included, because obviously in order to create it, I need to
You have to go
study a
through it
lot
all.
and do a lot of
So
research and refresh, and there will be all the workshops that I've done so far. Obviously we'll be in there, so I have a very good starting point, but my God, it's a labor of love, I'm
yeah,
telling you.
absolutely.
yeah,
So for those of you who are listening, the AMA is this afternoon. I don't know what time that would be UTC, but you can tell us.
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
So that would be 3 p.m. UTC, because we are
Okay. Okay.
it's 5 p.m. CEST,
Gotcha.
CEST, Central European Summertime.
Okay. And so that the URL is join.butter.us/Piccia-Neri/AMA. So if you're interested in seeing that a little bit later today. And then the course is at piccianeri.com/ADC. Yes, absolutely. All of those very much worthwhile. Thanks for hanging in there with us today, everybody. We hope that this has been helpful for you. We have 1 week left, and I have a feeling next week's going to include a little bit of ranting because it's about animations and motion on the screen, and we know how you feel about that, Piccia, but we're going to learn how to do it better, which I think is a wonderful thing. So thanks, everybody, for hanging in there with us. We will see you next week for our last episode on this. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.